right?
I'm on right now.
Oh, okay. And that was who, Tom or Greg? I couldn't hear you.
That's Tom.
Thank you, buddy.
No problem,
Bye.
folks.
You know, you're a gentleman in the know.
I'm sorry, please.
You're a gentleman in the know.
Yeah, why?
Any feedback on Marinos that you've heard in the grapevine?
Greg just handed this to me, Marty.
Oh, so you already got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's killing us. Yeah, I'm sure. When you see it, we see it, you know?
We've lost two jobs in one.
Yeah.
And in one company, within 50,000 square feet of towns, like where,
Yeah.
and they can't get home. They decided to.
Yeah.
Lost that.
No. Oh, I know we did.
So we're all set, Mr. Chairman. We have
Alrighty.
a quorum and it's 7 o'clock.
All right. Time is 7 o'clock. I'll call to order the City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for June 9th, 2021. We're attendance in person at City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. And also we have remote members logged in. Instructions for Zoom are available online at www.torringtonct.org/Zoom. You can join the meeting. There's the link. Phone number is 1-646-558-8656. Meeting ID 795-950-7035. Passcode is 907148. Agenda item 2, attendance. Serving on the commission this evening is Diane Carroll, who's present at City Hall. Myself, Greg Mealy, present at City Hall. Remote, we have Donovan Riley, Starley Arias, and Tom Tellman. Also in attendance is our city planner, Martin Connor. Moving on to agenda item number 3, minutes for approval for item A for May 26, 21. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Diane. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Donovan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Moving on to agenda item number 4, public hearing scheduled for 7 p.m. Wednesday, June 9th, 2021, City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. A special exception 21-05 and site plan 1375. Applicant is Borghese Building and Engineering, Inc. Location is 341 Pine Woods Road. Proposals construct new 7,200 square foot building, gasoline sales, and 2 retail stores. The time is 7:02. Serving on the commission this evening for that public hearing is Diane Carroll, Donovan Riley, Starley Arias, Tom Tellman, myself, Greg Mealy. Also in attendance is our city planner, Martin Connor. Commissioner Carroll, could you read the legal notice, please?
Sure. The Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled a public hearing on the following application on Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 in the City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. Special exception 21-05 and site plan 1375. Applicant is Borghese Building and Engineering, Inc. Location is 341 Pinewoods Road. Proposal, construct new 7,200 square foot building, gasoline sales, and 2 retail stores. Time of hearing 7 p.m. Copies of the above mentioned plans and application are on file in the Land Use Office, City Hall, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut.
Thank you, Commissioner Carroll. Is the applicant in attendance, please?
May I start?
Please.
My name is Alan Borghese. I'm a registered Connecticut engineer, chairman of Borghese Building and Engineering. Just a little history here is kind of interesting. This company came up from Tennessee. They have a bunch of gas stations and other buildings in Tennessee. One of his partners lived for years in Norwich, Connecticut. And he kept telling his other partner that Connecticut is a great place to expand and do business. They took a trip up here and they found a couple of sites. One of them is this site on Pine Woods Road. Another one's in Watertown Industrial Park. And I was astounded at first thinking about this. So I found the traffic counts in these areas are both excellent and there's very little competition. So I proceeded, they allowed me full ability to design a building that would meet Connecticut standards. Back home, all of their buildings are highly contemporary. Their canopies are swirled, and it's very, very contemporary. I said to him, I don't think that works here. He said, basically do what I want. So we are proposing this one first. Second one is coming in Watertown. The third one, I understand, Windsor Locks. But this site is a great site. It's right off of Route 8, right off of the industrial park, right off the route, the road from Torrington to Winston halfway. So it is kind of an ideal site. The site is next to Cornucopia and is zoned a local business. It's between Cornucopia, which everybody I think knows, and Route 8. And right now it's a kind of a mound and there's one brick house on it. The lot is 4.3 acres. And the requirement for zoning, it says a minimum of 10,000 square feet. The width of the lot is almost 600 linear feet, and the zoning requires only 80. Side yard setback and front yard setback, again, we're just way, way, way better than the zoning regulations. And we're less than half of the impervious that is required. And we have sufficient parking. Now, what we've done here, after several reiterations and iterations, first of all, I'll show you perhaps the building. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. But should I go closer to the camera, you think?
No, the camera is taking in this whole view here.
Okay. Basically, what we did is we indicated a colonial building, and a gable ends, and a shingle roof. We gave it a green texture, a very modest green texture. And the part that faces the Pine Woods Road is 2 retail storefronts and the front for the gasoline and their accessory use, convenience food store and that sort of thing. And the side facing the cornucopia, which is now a church. I presented this to those neighbors because I was very concerned about their thoughts, and they expressed to me they found this to be very nice, attractive. And it's interesting because the site from the cornucopia to this site drops off, I'd say 8 to 10 feet, and the 8 to 10 feet substantially blocks the view of the gas station from the present church building that's there. The things suggested by the towns that we did comply with, the driveway to the east was originally more west from that entrance, but now we have shifted as far as we can to the east so it matches the road that goes to the industrial park. We've added a little picnic area because we had a flat area for outdoor seating and nice weather like we have today. And we've also shown in the back the stacking of cars that's required because we do show the possibility of a coffee/donut shop. We have made some nice buffers on that so people cannot misuse that and come up the back way and try to go into the coffee shop. They really have to go all around the building. The stormwater from this entire development will go into a detention basin that is off to the west side. And it discharges into a system that is already next to Route 8. I believe that we have complied with all of the regulations on this site. There was a concern about drainage in the back. There was a swale back there. We've continued to swale because there is runoff off the properties, the surface runoff from properties to the rear. And we have made under drainage all along the pavement so the pavement stabilizes. I think it came out fairly attractive. I'd like to answer any questions that anybody has here.
I see on the plan you have diesel pumps, so obviously there'll be truck traffic going through there, tractor trailers, whatever.
That's correct.
Able to fuel up.
And they exit around the back of the building. Okay. And we've gave it a lot of width in the back of the building so the trucks can exit.
Now, on that, is there like an abandoned garage, or is that the house that is in question? It's kind of facing the church to the left?
There is a red brick house
Okay. It's kind
standing
of
all by itself.
in tough shape though, isn't it? I think.
That's not in great shape, yes.
Right, okay,
Yeah, that's coming down, Greg.
all right. Do any commissioners have any questions at this time for Mr. Borghese?
Donovan Riley. Mr. Borghese, I'm familiar with the general location, but not the specific site. Has that property or that lot, if you will, ever been previously developed, or is it prepped for this project yet, or anything like that?
I only half heard that.
He was wondering if this site was ever previously developed, or basically it's always been barren land.
It's relatively barren land except that one house. I believe that there was another house on that site, just from recollection. There's nothing on my drawing, but I believe there was a second house more to the east of the present house, but it is not there now. I don't see it, but it's basically a large grassy field at this point, and then this single house with a driveway to it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And there was always kind of talk of development in that general area too. It was on the other side of Route 8 though, I believe, wasn't it?
Correct. You know, behind this, so you notice, behind this is an industrial park, Putter Lane Industrial Park. Right. On the opposite side, across from Pinewoods, is the larger industrial park. So it is, other than the church, it is literally surrounded by industrial land on both sides.
Yeah, the nearest gas station is what, down at the other, down by Lowe's, correct?
I'm going to say down the Winston Road, Lower Winston Road by Dibble Street,
Right.
Or all the way to Winston.
Okay. Any other commissioners have any questions at this point? Marty, you have a memo?
I do.
Please.
I wrote a memo to the commission dated June 1st, 2021. Alan Borghese, Borghese Building and Engineering Company, Inc., has filed a special exception and site plan application to construct a 7,200 square foot gasoline retail facility with 2 additional retail uses, construct a canopy over 5 gasoline pumps, and add 3 diesel pumps at 341 Pinewoods Road. The proposed unit on the west side of the building has a drive-through window. The property is owned by Joseph J. and Marilyn K. Reese. It is 4.30 acres in size. It's located in the LB local business zone. The proposed gasoline station is a special exception use in the LB zone per sections 3.1 subsection 8.40 of the zoning regulations. The convenience store and proposed retail units are permitted uses per section 3.1 subsection 3.10 of the zoning regulations. Plans submitted are titled Torrington Farms Service Center, 341 Pinewoods Road, Torrington, Connecticut, 06790 by Borghese Building and Engineering Company, Inc., dated 5/4/21, sheets SP1 through 3, SPD1 through 3, A1, A1A, A2, and A2A. The zoning informational table on sheet SP1 indicates that the proposed building meets the required zoning setbacks, maximum impervious surface requirements, maximum building height, and the minimum parking and loading requirements are all compliant. An existing house on the property will be demolished to make room for the project. Written notice of the project has been provided to the adjacent property owners. In reviewing the application and plans and documents submitted, I have the following comments. 1, a grading permit is required per section 7.3.3 of the zoning regulations. 2, the erosion and sedimentation control plan appears complete and eligible for certification. A bond estimate prepared by the project engineer should be submitted for the cost of the installation and maintenance of the soil erosion and sedimentation controls as shown on the approved plans. A performance bond in an amount approved by the city planner's office and in a form acceptable to Corporation Council should be submitted prior to the issuance of a grading permit to cover the estimated costs of the E&S measures. 3, a stormwater management, best management practice maintenance agreement with the city of Torrington will be required and filed on the land records per section 7.4.2D of the regulations. 4, an up-to-date Class A2 survey of the property is required per section 8.4.2B3 of the zoning regulations. 5, the site plan shows a drive-through window, but the site development plan does not show the required 6 stacking spaces, and the parking table should be amended to show the required 6 spaces and the proposed number of stacking spaces to be provided. Will the drive-in window service a restaurant or a retail use? If it will be a restaurant, the parking table needs to be adjusted for a restaurant use as well. 6, a picnic area is shown on the plans. Additional parking should be provided, 4 parking spaces per 10 seats. The parking spaces should be located near the picnic area proposed. An emergency generator sized to cover the gas station and convenience store would be a great addition to the project from an emergency management standpoint. 8, most new gas stations are adding electric charging stations. It would seem prudent to add a charging station to the project. Other staff comments. Architectural Review Committee, the committee voted unanimously to make a favorable recommendation on the project to the commission at their 5/28/21 meeting. Inland Wetlands, Landscaping, Lighting, and Signage, Jeremy Leifert, Assistant City Planner, reviewed the plans and indicated in an updated email memo to me dated 6/1/21. I've reviewed the information submitted for the proposed gas station / retail store use and site development plan at 341 Pinewoods Road under site plan application 1376 and offered the following comments. Wetlands review of the property submitted with the application materials. The applicant should have the property reviewed by a certified soil scientist to determine the presence or absence of a wetland soils on the property. Wetland soils, if present, should be surveyed and added to the map to determine wetlands permitting responsibility. If no wetlands, soils, or watercourses are present on the property, such information is required to be submitted by a licensed soil scientist in a form of a report and/or notation on the submitted site plan. And Mr. Borghese did, subsequent to this memo, supply the soil scientist report that indicated that there were no regulated activities proposed. So that constitutes a favorable report from the commission. Landscaping, proposed tree planting locations shown on the plans are acceptable. However, the number of shrubs in or near the front yard buffer along Pinewoods Road appear to be short of the required number of shrubs based on the length of the road frontage and required spacing. I would suggest adding 8 to 10 additional shrubs near the front yard buffer in the northwest downhill section of the buffer along Pinewoods Road. Lighting, the photometric lighting plan sheet SP4 submitted with the application has been reviewed and is acceptable and compliant with the regulations. All lighting fixtures and future exterior lighting proposals shall be in accordance with the requirements of section 5.17 of the zoning regulations. I just want to note, Mr. Borghese, that the lighting plan in this sheet set would need to be updated because it doesn't show where you shifted the driveway in the picnic area. Signage, the location and size of all proposed signage over 32 square feet is required to be approved as part of the site plan application. A freestanding detached sign is noted on the site plan near SP2, on site plan sheet SP2, near the northwest entrance of the property, with a note, size, and location to be determined. Additional information should be provided for an approximate location and size of the signage with the site plan application. The detached sign shall not be taller than 17 feet, nor more than 125 square feet in size, area in conformance with section 5.15 of the zoning regs. A sign permit shall be required before installing any signage in accordance with 5.15 of the zoning regulations. Engineering, Paul Cunson's PE, Deputy Public Works Director, City Engineer, marked up the plans electronically. He emailed his comments to Alan Borghese, 5/27/21. These comments need to be addressed by the applicant. I believe most of these, if not all, have been addressed in the current set, but the Public Works Director, Assistant Public Works Director, City Engineer will need time to go through those. So as a condition of approval, we would want those addressed. WPCA Ray Drew's comments are contained in a memo to me dated 5/14/20. It's a standard form with the requirement that the applicant apply for a sewer discharge permit and provide the information that is contained in the memo there. Police traffic, Sergeant Baldus, Police Traffic Unit, in an email memo to me dated 5/28/21, indicated I looked over the plans and see that it appears all the necessary allowances are in place for spaces and dumpster locations. Do we know how much traffic is estimated to be added to the road and whether this would impact industrial lane T intersection as the trailer traffic would have to use the other entrance coming off industrial, as they would not be able to make the swing into the first entrance. Is there a reason they offset it from the industrial lane intersection altogether? Depending on anticipated traffic, would only draw my attention as a concern. Other than that, I think the plan looks great for the area. So subsequently, Mr. Borghese has moved that entrance, as he explained earlier. Fire Marshal Edward Becerra, in a letter to me dated 5/14/21, recommended the building be equipped with a complete and compliant fire protection system, an alarm system compatible with the occupancy. The fact that it will be vacant during the non-business hours makes it a prime candidate for delayed discovery of the fire inside. Torrington makes use of lock boxes to allow quick access by firefighters in time of an alarm without causing damage. And Mr. Borghese has added that note stating that they would be supplying a secure knock brand lockbox. It's in note number 9. The building and area must comply with all required building and electrical codes and will be inspected by the fire marshal for compliance with the life safety code prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy and annually thereafter. Conclusion, provided the applicant adequately addresses my comments above, I believe the commission can make a finding that the general and specific conditions for special exception approval have been met. I recommend approval of the special exception 2105, site plan number 1376, for construction of a 7,200 square foot gasoline retail facility with 2 additional retail uses, including a drive-in window, with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, a grading permit shall be submitted and approved by the zoning officer prior to issuance of the zoning permit for the project. 2, a bond estimate prepared by the project engineer shall be submitted for the cost of installation and maintenance of soil erosion and sediment controls as shown on the approved plans. The performance bond in an amount approved by the city planner's office and in a form acceptable to the corporation council shall be submitted prior to issuance of a grading permit to cover estimated costs of the E&S measures. 3, a stormwater management, best management practices, BMP maintenance agreement with the city of Torrington shall be filed on the Torrington land records per section 7.4.2D of the regulations. 4, the applicant shall address the comments on the marked up plans from Paul Cunson's PE, Deputy Public Works Director, City Engineer, contained in his email to Alan Borghese dated 5/27/21. 5, the applicant shall address comments contained in a memo to the city planner from Ray Drew, WPCA Administrator, dated 5/14/21. 6, the applicant shall address the comments contained in a memo to the city planner from Jeremy Lightford, Assistant City Planner, dated 6/1/21. And 7, it's recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Fire Marshal Edward Bissetta contained in his letter to the city planner dated 5/14/21. Just wanted to make a couple of notes that since I wrote this memo, we did, several of these things have been addressed with these revised plans, but I did want to ask Mr. Borghese about, from an emergency management standpoint, I think that generator is really important. We had some major ice storms.
Let me say, I agree with you. I wrote an
Could you
email
say-
to go to the owner.
Excuse me, Alan. Back to the mic, please. Thank you.
Excuse me. I got that. I agree with you, absolutely.
Okay.
And well, let me just comment though. I wrote an email to the owner, I believe it on Friday, and I did not get a response. I believe he's traveling back home at this point, but I think it would be a nice suggestion.
It's not a requirement in our zoning regs, but I'm like an emergency management coordinator for the region. And we had so many problems with some of the major storms. And you can remember people lining up for gas, and it's important. And if they have a convenience store, being able to have milk and juice and things would be important.
And I will respond to you on that answer.
And the other thing,
Electric outlets. also.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get an
I
answer.
mean, that, once again, that's not a requirement, but it would seem to make a lot of sense. And I would think that you might want to at least make provisions underground perhaps for it with the proper electrical connection that you need for it.
You say that, Marty. Let me tell you my opinion. I looked at that. I think the best location for those is right along the building. The parking places along the building, I think, are the ideal location rather
Okay.
than remote.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
So those would be just some follow-up questions. And then I did want to also let the commission know, I didn't put it in my memo because Mr. Borghese has it on the plans, but as a condition of approval, they have to merge some properties, and you have that as a note on the plan, so that we don't need to have it as a condition of approval because it's located in the notes.
Marty, along the lines of the proposed generator for your recommendation, from the emergency management standpoint, if Mr. Borghese was going to implement that into the project, what provision needs to be done for placement of that? Because obviously they see there's a propane tank for the facility now, which I'm assuming is probably for the heating load of the building.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of the generator, it's either going to have a diesel day tank or additional propane, because obviously there's no city gas in the vicinity, correct?
I would think that over by the propane tank somewhere over that way, is that too far away from the building for a generator?
Well, ideally, you want to get it in close proximity to the electrical service, so you're not extending
Yeah,
feeds, extensively. So maybe in the, back in the
towards the
proposed
back.
dumpster area, back in that area,
Okay.
possibly.
Yeah,
Just another quick question too, Alan. I see in the notes, we are served by city sewer here, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Because I believe there was some issue with Cornucopia through the years with septic sewer, the sewer tie-in, I think finally took place, if I recall.
yeah, that has been done.
Right.
So,
Okay. On the plan, though, it says existing sanitary sewer to be removed, disconnect and cap at main, down in that sewer and water line easement. The
No,
connection for
let me tell
the,
you what I understand, Greg. The church, excuse me, the owner sold, before he sold the land to the church, was required to put a sewer in. That sewer is going to remain a private sewer until the gas station hooks to it. Then I understand it becomes a public sewer system. So that's the intent here.
Mhm. Okay.
There is, I believe, a sewer coming from the house now to the sewer
Okay.
in the street, and that's going to be abandoned.
Okay. Because obviously that size is probably inadequate for the facility.
That's
What's
correct.
going on? Okay.
My understanding, Mr. Chairman, was that septic systems were failing on both properties. And that's why when the church purchased that, the former cornucopia,
Right.
they were required by the Torrington Area Health District to tie into the sewer.
And obviously being on a town road here, there's no input from the state.
No.
Okay. Any commissioners have any other comments or questions at this time? Being none, I'll go to the audience. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Being none, would anyone like to speak in opposition of this application? If so, please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Bob Leonard. I'm from 105 Highland Lake Road, which runs, I guess, adjacent to Pine Woods Road. I have several concerns. One, of course, is the traffic. The road's really not made for that kind of traffic, and you're going to get more traffic off of Winstead Road. It's going to make that intersection down the bottom of my hill more dangerous. The second thing is I'm kind of concerned that this might be the beginning of another East Main Street. There's a lot of land there that can be developed and be bought and sold, and I wouldn't want to see that turn into another East Main Street. Thirdly, there seems to be an organized racing going on Route 8 with the motorcycles. Starts about 6 o'clock at night, and many, many motorcycles going from north to south, then back from south to north. I think putting something there would make a nice haven for all of them to get off the highway and go to this location for whatever. But again, more noise coming off the highway and back on the highway, more people from God knows where. And it is a concern of mine, all three of those. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak in opposition of this application? Okay, thank you. Mr. Borghese, is there specified times that were talked about for this facility
I do not have.
for
that
operating
information.
hours?
I'm sorry, I don't have, Alan Borghese speaking, I do not have that information. But let's just chat about a couple of things, and I understand the concern. This is the end of any development on that street. This cannot become an East Main Street because this is the sole piece of land on that street from here. And across the street, there's already industrial land, and behind it, there's industrial land. And I don't know if there's any other local business except perhaps on the other side of Route 8, which is not, I don't think, really relevant to this discussion. As far as the motorcycle speeding on Route 8, I have nothing to comment on that. I think, to the best of my knowledge, the traffic on Torrington Street and Winstead Road are well within the capacity of the road. I don't know. I've never checked that out, but I don't think it's stressed at all.
Any commissioners have any closing comments at this time? Anyone?
I just have one question about the
Please.
delivery of the gas. So we have no idea what those hours will be either.
I'm sorry.
The tanker trucks bringing the gas and fuel in. Is there any time frame that they will be doing that?
Typically, in most gasoline stations, because they don't want to disrupt traffic, have their drops off very early in the morning or in the evening. And you can see that because of, let's say, Milo's gas station, that's typical. They don't want to disrupt traffic. I have no idea exactly what hours they would be delivering. I'm sorry.
Just for the record too, this project has received favorable architectural review votes on the project. And just a comment to you, sir, about the traffic. You know, maybe it'd be prudent to contact the local state police and say, you know what, monitor the area for a given period of time. You know.
Almost a half mile away from the lake.
Yeah.
To the point where we have to stop our conversation. Could be 50, maybe 60 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
Down and back.
Right. Yeah.
As far as the Camp East Main Street, there's one of the problems. The Racquetball Club, there is no hotel at. And the property next to the driveway to the there's something. There's no
And I appreciate your concerns that that's kind of really not connected to what he's looking for this evening, sir. Okay, thank you. Marty, you have any?
I don't, I think, the application is complete in my opinion, and I think that, we could close the public hearing
All right,
and consider a decision.
okay. The time is 7:34. I declare this public hearing closed. We'll make a decision as soon as Commissioner Carroll reads it.
Whole thing?
She's got it. Watch for that one. I had the book.
It's the same, right?
Yep.
To approve special exception 21-05 and site plan 1375, applicant Borghese Building and Engineering, Inc., location 341 Pine Woods Road. Proposal to construct new 7,200 square foot building, gasoline sales, and 2 retail uses, including a drive-in window, with the following conditions and recommendations. Number 1, a grading permit shall be submitted and approved by the zoning officer prior to issuance of a zoning permit for the project. Number 2, a bond estimate prepared by the project engineer shall be submitted for the cost of the installation and maintenance of the soil erosion and sediment controls as shown on the approved plans. The performance bond in an amount approved by the city planner's office and in a form acceptable to the corporation council shall be submitted prior to issuance of the grading permit to cover the estimated costs of the E&S measures. Number 3, a stormwater management / best management practice BMP maintenance agreement with the city of Torrington shall be filed on the Torrington land records per section 7.4.2.d of the regulations. Number 4, the applicant shall address the comments on the marked up plans from Paul Cousins, PE, Deputy Public Works Director / City Engineer, contained in his email to Alan Borghese 5/27/21. Number 5, the applicant shall address the comments contained in a memo to the city planner from Ray Drew, WPCA Administrator, dated 5/14/21. Number 6, the applicant shall address the comments contained in a memo to the city planner from Jeremy Leifert, Assistant City Planner, dated 6/1/21. Number 7, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Fire Marshal Edward Piscata, contained in his letter to the city planner dated 5/14/21. The commission makes the finding that the general and specific conditions for special acceptance approval have been met.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tom.
Tom, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Good luck, Mr. Borghese. Moving on to agenda item number 5, old business. We have none. Item number 6, new business. A, zoning and blight violation update. Marty, do you have anything?
I believe that, that got sent to you by email.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any updates at the moment.
Yeah.
But we do have an item to add to the agenda if we
Right.
could.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Okay, we need to add an item by 2/3 vote at this evening's P&Z meeting to set a public hearing date for re-subdivision and special exception, location 501-504 Essex Court, Assessor Map 234, Block 002, Lot 006, applicant Allied Engineering Associates Incorporated. Proposal re-subdivision 2 lots and multifamily residence in an R6 zone. So I need a motion to go by 2/3. If I can get that, please.
Make a motion, Tom Kalman.
Tom, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Diane Carroll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, so we need to set a public hearing date. Marty, what is your suggested date, please?
That would be our next meeting, which, sorry.
That's all right.
June 23rd.
No, I'm sorry. We need a full month. So
Okay.
it's the July meeting. I believe is it July 7th?
No. Oh, it's the next one, I think. 14.
21st. Oh, I have the 21st.
Oh, I'm sorry.
July 21st.
21st. All right. So we'd be setting a public hearing date for a re-subdivision special exception location 501, 504 Essex Court, Assessor Map 234, Block 002, Lot 006, applicant Allied Engineering Associates, Inc. Proposal re-subdivision 2 lots and multifamily residence in an R6 zone. The suggested date is July 21st, 2021. Do I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Diane. Do I have a second?
Second, Donald Riley.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Is that
Wow.
within the Squire Hill complex?
It
At the
is.
top? What are they doing there?
Well, what's happening is he has one building that's on all the remaining land.
Okay,
So he's selling that one building. And then because he wants to split it off, he's got to do a re-subdivision.
okay.
So then he takes the remaining land and he has to demonstrate he could put at least one more multifamily on all that remaining land, like 90 acres. So we'll be looking at that at the next, well, at the
At the
July.
July meeting, yeah.
Okay. That's it. All right, time is 7:40. Moving on to agenda item number 7, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'm all, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for your input this
guys.
evening.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.